I'm the technologically challenged one amongst us. So, my name's Helen, and I've been in education for over 30 years in many different stratas. I can honestly say, from being a teacher, senior leader, head teacher, blah, 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 and all that impact that you have in those workplaces, I really feel that BVC is my calling. It's my real core. I found my home. Cornwall, I found my home 8 years ago. And it is such an amazing privilege of mine to be a minority. I love being the white minority in our amazing senior leadership team. So I want to just ask you to give it up for these amazing people before I start. So I lead on the education and training, and this is the broad vision for everything I lead on. So it's for Cornwall to become an actively anti-racist duchy, to be more welcoming, equitable, and an empathetic place for people to live and to visit. Has anybody had the experience where you've heard of people who are tourists that don't want to come back? Anybody had that experience? Yeah, we want to change that too, not just for the people that live here. We really want good racial literacy. That means that people understand and can talk about race confidently, and I'll come on to that in more detail in a minute. And we want that to be commonplace, and we want people to be unashamed to stand up for what is right and have the tools to do so. So a pretty big mission, but these three core strands that I lead on are curriculum, and training and culture champions. I'll come on to these individually. So, what I was joking about over there, when Mark was saying about Michael Nelson move over, I was being facetious, obviously. Nelson Mandela, the education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Does anybody agree with Nelson? Okay. Can I ask you in the room if you feel that you are an educator? Everybody's hand should be up. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're a parent, you're an educator. If you go to a workplace, you're an educator. If you are alive, you are an educator. And I really believe that every single individual has a moral duty to educate on the things that we believe strongly about. So, we are in the process of co-creating a Cornish Black History curriculum for primary schools. Any primary school teachers in the room? No, that's a shame. But can I ask each of you, when you're in primary school, did any of you learn about Black British iconic figures? Anybody? No? Oh, you did. Wonderful. Who did you learn about?
I learned about Nelson Mandela.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I've put you on the spot a bit, haven't I? But yeah. But thank you for that. That's what I do, I'm afraid. But out of the room, there's one. And what we find is that even now, because Black history is not statutory, therefore it's not, the challenge in the curriculum is that it's so packed with what is statutory, it's really hard to fit in that isn't. But our vision there is that every child in Cornwall and beyond, that's the vision as we go, will be given the tools, learning and knowledge to be an actively anti-racist citizen. See the link? It goes through absolutely everything that we do. They will have appropriate exposure to discussion of race and equality in the safe spaces of their classrooms and their learning zones. They'll enjoy a curriculum that celebrates that Black excellence and positive contributions, and they'll encounter a breadth of education that includes Black British history. And yeah, there is history, but it's Nelson, and no disrespect to Nelson, awesome. but we want to put the focus back on the British and also include the Cornish. Reason for this, students of colour will see themselves represented in their curriculum and in the classroom, and therefore have that greater sense of belonging. Well, it's not only for students of colour, it's for everybody to have a breadth of understanding. So, the curriculum aims, I'm not going to read them all, but just have a quick look there, because what we want to do is really upskill teachers in the classroom. So we want to create a curriculum, but we find that a lot of educators are nervous about delivering anything to do with race, because they're worried that they might get things wrong. So we don't only want to create a curriculum, we want to, through our training, also upskill teachers to deliver the curriculum and to create those spaces. I hope you've had a read of that one. And then, now, have a look at the gentleman in the background. Does anybody know who he is?
Joseph Amity.
Go on, shout it out.
Mr. Amity.
Joseph Amity, yes. Does anybody know who Joseph Amity is? Tell me, shout it out to me. He's a violinist, and so he was enslaved, came over to Falmouth, 1799, and his musicality was just awesome. And this is what we want to do, to bring people like Joseph Amity into our curriculum. Anybody heard of Jack Leslie? Footballers in the room, maybe. Yeah, I won't go through all of these. So we also want to teach about the black historical figures in the period of history. Ivory Bangle Lady, anybody heard of her? Septimus Severus, anybody? No? You need to come on our training. Oh, well done. Yeah, so awesome. Not only history though, we want to link it to PSHE and teach about race, culture and diversity. So it just becomes something that everybody can talk about naturally. We want to bring in story time, reading skills, celebratory days, Windrush Day. Doesn't matter your workplace. Can I encourage you, and you don't have to be in a school, 22nd of June each year, can you go back to your workplace and just say, can we do something on Windrush Day this year? And whatever that means. And then we'd love to hear from you if you can take a few photographs and send them in to us. We're also going to be looking at the bespoke Cornish Black History units, which we've been working together on with, I can't see Deborah now, but from Crescent Kernow and Odmin Keep. And yeah, so all of it just improves that representation. Alongside that, on the education, we want to also build a wealth of digital materials that people will be able to access. So we have all these currently, and we want to build on those. So, amazing woman. 95 she would have been yesterday. Maya Angelou. So as we're going to talking about training, we use this in our training. Just out of interest, has anybody in the room been on any of our training? Thank you. Love it. I hope I'm going to say you would recommend it, wouldn't you? Big resounding yes. So this is what we use as our key learning objectives. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And that doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what the colour of your skin, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't only relate to race, does it? It relates to everything in life. Absolutely awesome, awesome woman. So, within our actively anti-racist training, all of it is linked about helping Cornwall to become actively anti-racist. Well, at the EDI fairs that we've been at over the last few weeks, we've been asking this question, and you've listened a lot now, so I'm just going to ask you to spend a minute talking to your partner. Yes, I'm still okay for time. Talking to your partner and answering this question, and the question is, how racist do you think Cornwall is? On a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being, oh, terribly racist, 1 being not racist at all. I'm a teacher, talk to your talk partner, and then we'll take some feedback. Then it can just have a little break from my voice. Okay. Sorry to interrupt your conversation. So, we don't have time, obviously, in this space to share your thoughts, but if I can ask you all just to show me on your fingers how racist, and this is an individual, not what your partners thought, how racist you think Cornwall is. So, 10 being very, very racist, 1 being not so racist. Show me your fingers, politely please. Now. Okay. Now, I'm looking about, team and everybody else, have a look around also. I'm getting an average of about 7 or 8, would you agree with me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And you know, that's pretty scary. And as we've been asking the students, they've come up with a very similar number. Quite interesting though, the few pupils of colour or people of colour that we've asked have actually given a lower number. But that's been based on that those particular individuals haven't experienced anything personally. Those that have, their number was higher. But we just thought that was really quite interesting. So I'll bring you back to the fact that our training is all about how to be actively anti-racist. So we give a brief overview of Black British history, because we didn't do this when we started our training, but what we found is that people don't know what they don't know, and they don't know Black British history. So if they don't know the history, how can they know the struggle? So that's why we brought that in. We cover understanding different types of racism. We recognise and teach on the acceptable vocabulary and how that changes over time. Could I just encourage each one of you that what we do with terminology is if somebody's using an outdated terminology such as coloured, please just politely correct. Don't tell off, don't confront, just politely correct. And it doesn't matter how many times, even with the same person, you need to do that. It's not that that person is getting it wrong, yet we're on the journey. So let's get on that journey together and all take that responsibility. We look at, and when we train, we always train, so I might train, but we'll always have a person of colour training, and it's typically out of the 4 of us. And that lived experience that each of my colleagues bring is just, it sets our training apart. When we were at GCHQ, and they said, we've done lots of EDI work, but we didn't have a joy-tea. Sorry, joy-tea. That's what they said, but we didn't have a joy-tea. And, you know, they've invited us back joy-tea. So, you know, and that's what we also look at. We begin to explore bias, and we also explore how all those tools to be actively anti-racist. So, we train in education, in business, in community, or faith, anywhere that wants our training, we are happy to deliver our training. Since January, under the IEEC project, we delivered training in 2 secondary schools, over 120 delegates, We did Cornwall College Development Day at St Austell and Chamber of Commerce. So, where's Kim? Hi, Kim. I know you had to do it virtually, but it was lovely that you were there. Maybe you can join us up live when we do our next little bit. What we really look at? We want to look at our day. We always want to improve. This was from one of those schools saying how useful did we find the training. So for us, it's not just going, yeah, brilliant, 85% found it extremely useful. What that's telling us is we're on the right track. We're doing what people are doing. Showing there that the greater percentage had more understanding of how to use appropriate vocabulary and a lot more confident. That was a school about talking about a race in the classroom. So these statistics just help us, find out what we're doing well and what we need to improve on. Just some feedbacks from our training. The first one is my favourite. We trained in a school where it was compulsory. It was a Thursday twilight. Thursday twilight, oh no. I wasn't looking forward to this training. However, I really enjoyed it and found it educational. The head teacher actually congratulated us, because there was 120 staff on that first one, congratulated us and said, I didn't know really how you did that, because over half the staff were reluctant to be here. So that was really good for us. Taken more from the training than over 9 years of teaching, tackling your own unconscious bias, talking about addressing terminology. And Marcus mentioned that we've been privileged. Becca's in the room, gives away, Becca. Yes. Oh, give a big clap to Becca. So we've been working with Becca Parkton, studying clinical psychology at the Plymouth University. So she's been conducting a research study about the impact of our training and looking at white fragility. Study is extensive, and it's been a 3-year journey, hasn't it? Nearly at the end. So the outcome will provide us with information and feedback, but the hope is that the research also will be published. We've also, Mark's in the room, thank you Mark, we've also secured Cornwall Marine Network has facilitated us with some funding to get our training to schools and colleges, because the barrier is money. So thank you, and many more are coming our way and taking us up on that. So finally for me, developing culture champions. We all have a responsibility for volunteers. On the education side, we look at mentors and befrienders. We're looking to train the trainers to take on, help with delivering our training. So if anyone in the room is interested, please let us know. Curriculum co-creators, community advocates, and professional facilitators. If you're a videographer or you're a designer, I need so much help on the curriculum. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your input. And I think that's it.